I asked myself the other day, what does my body actually need right now? Especially when I found myself staring at the bedside clock at exactly 3:14 a.m. You know that feeling? Where the house is completely silent, but inside your head, it feels like someone just turned on all the lights. You were in a deep, peaceful sleep one minute, and the next you're wide awake, wondering if you remembered to move the laundry or worrying about a conversation you had 3 days ago. It's such a frustrating way to spend the night. You lie there perfectly still, trying to trick your brain back into sleep, but your heart is doing a little nervous dance in your chest. Maybe you feel a sudden wave of heat that makes you kick off the blankets only to feel chilled a few minutes later. It makes you feel so isolated, like you're the only person in the world who can't just rest. You start to dread the morning because you know you'll be running on fumes before the sun even comes up. I want to offer a different perspective on what's happening in those quiet, dark hours. This isn't a sign that your health is failing and your internal systems aren't glitching on purpose. You are simply navigating a significant shift in how your body manages its nightly maintenance. For a long time, your sleep followed a very predictable path, but now the markers have moved. It's like your internal GPS is using an outdated map. You aren't lost. You just need a version that matches where you are today. The good news is that your body is actually trying to tell you exactly what it needs to stay under. There are real physical reasons why 3 a.m. has become your new wake-up call, and once we decode those signals, we can start to calm the noise. But why does the brain choose this specific time to pull us out of our dreams, and what is the hidden alarm that keeps going off? Welcome back to the Vital Women podcast. I'm Dr. Aiko Tanaka, and I have dedicated my time exploring the biological shifts that happen as we move through our 50s. I know exactly how it feels when you look at the clock at 3 a.m. and don't recognize how your body is behaving anymore. If you feel like your nights have become a struggle you just can't win, I want you to know that your system is simply in a new phase. In my practice, I hear your stories every single day. The frustration of feeling tired but wired, and the sheer exhaustion of trying to get through a workday on only 4 hours of sleep. My goal is to use my experience in hormonal health to show you the actual science behind why your brain is pulling you out of sleep. We are going to move away from those cold clinical labels and focus on the simple, real-world solutions that actually fit into your daily life. Today, we are going to walk through 5 specific reasons why you are waking up in the middle of the night. We aren't just going to talk about generic sleep advice. I'm going to show you how your internal chemistry is shifting and how we can support it. You'll learn how to quiet that noise so you can start feeling like yourself again. My promise is that by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear, easy plan to help your system stay asleep using simple shifts you can start tonight. Your body is simply responding differently to this stage of life, and I am here to help you give it the support it is asking for. I want to dig into why this specific 3 a.m. window has suddenly become so difficult for your body to navigate. For most of your life, your sleep followed a very predictable and steady rhythm. Your hormones acted like a quiet, reliable crew that kept the lights out and your mind calm until the sun came up. But as you move past 45 and into your 50s, that crew starts operating under a different set of rules. What's actually happening is that your internal sleep gates are changing because of a shift in your chemistry. One of the biggest changes involves a hormone called progesterone. Think of progesterone as your body's natural built-in sedative. It's the part of your system that helps you feel relaxed and stay in a deep, heavy sleep. As you move through the menopausal transition, your levels of this calming hormone begin to drop significantly. Without that natural anchor to keep you pinned down in deep sleep, your brain becomes much more sensitive to the world around it. At the same time, your primary supply of estrogen is also fluctuating. Here is a concrete fact. By the time you reach menopause, your estrogen levels can drop by as much as 50% to 60% compared to your younger years. This matters because estrogen helps regulate your body's internal thermostat, which is located in a part of the brain called the hypothalamus. When estrogen dips, that thermostat becomes glitchy. Even if you don't wake up drenched in sweat, your body might be experiencing tiny spikes in temperature that are just enough to nudge you out of your sleep cycle. This is why you aren't just imagining that you're a lighter sleeper than you used to be. The prevalence of sleep disturbances actually jumps from about 16% in younger women to as high as 60% in women postmenopause. Your sleep has essentially become thinner. Because you have less of those natural sedatives and a more sensitive internal thermostat, small things that never used to bother you, like a slight change in room temperature or a natural spike in your morning energy hormones, now wake you up completely. It is so important to understand that this is a biological shift, not a personal failing. You are eating for energy and sleeping for recovery, but your system is simply responding differently to the signals it's receiving. Once we recognize that your sleep map has changed, we can start giving your body the specific tools it needs to find that deep, restorative rest again. You aren't losing your ability to sleep, you're just learning how to support a system that is finding a new baseline. Before we move into the 5 specific reasons your body is waking you up, I want to take a moment to really connect with you. I know how lonely those early morning hours feel when you are the only one awake in the dark. It is so easy to start feeling like there is something wrong with you, or that you're the only woman in your circle who is suddenly struggling just to get through the night. But I promise you, that couldn't be further from the truth. I want us to start a real, honest conversation right here in our community. I'd like you to go to the comments or the message section right now and type the word rest if you've been staring at the clock at 3 a.m. more nights than not this week. If you feel like your internal alarm is going off way too early and you're tired of starting your day on an empty tank, type the word recover. I read every single one of your messages because they help me understand exactly what you are going through. Are you finding that you can fall asleep just fine, but then you're wide awake and wired a few hours later? Or maybe you've noticed that your mind starts racing the second your eyes open, even though you're physically exhausted. I'm asking because your body is sending you very specific signals. The more we share these experiences, the more we realize that this is a collective shift we are all navigating together. When you share what's happening in your house, it helps another woman realize she isn't losing it either. It builds a bridge of understanding that is so much warmer than a cold clinical diagnosis. Think about the one thing that has been the hardest about your lack of sleep this week. Was it the brain fog at your afternoon meeting? Was it feeling a bit snappier with your partner than you wanted to be? Whatever it is, put it out there. When we name these things, they lose their power over us. We stop seeing them as personal failures and start seeing them as signs that our system is simply asking for a different kind of support. I want this to be a place where you feel seen. So let me know, what is your 3 a.m. story lately? Your input is what keeps this show going and reminds me why I'm so passionate about finding these simple human solutions. We're in this together. Firstly, let's look at the cortisol false alarm. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. feeling like you just drank a double espresso? You aren't just restless. Your heart is racing, and your mind is instantly moving at 100 miles per hour. What's happening is that your body's alertness hormone, called cortisol, is peaking too early. Normally, cortisol stays low until the sun comes up, but because your levels of progesterone, your natural sedative, have dropped, your brain loses its ability to stay calm. The problem of this early spike is that it puts you in a state of hyperarousal, making it nearly impossible to drift back off. A simple solution is to practice 5 minutes of deep box breathing the moment you wake up to tell your nervous system that there is no emergency. This helps your body realize it is still nighttime. You aren't losing your edge. Your system is simply responding differently to its morning signals. Moving on, we have the 3 a.m. fuel crash. Do you ever wake up feeling shaky or even a little bit hungry in the middle of the night? This often happens because your blood sugar has bottomed out while you were sleeping. Estrogen usually helps your body manage sugar effectively, but when it dips after 45, your energy levels can become a roller coaster. When your brain senses low fuel, it triggers a hit of adrenaline to get more sugar from your liver, which wakes you up instantly. To avoid this, try having a small, high-protein snack, like a spoonful of almond butter, shortly before bed. This provides a steady, slow burn of energy, so your brain doesn't have to sound the alarm at 3 a.m. This is not your fault. Your body just needs a different kind of fuel to get through the night. The third one is the thermostat glitch. Have you ever kicked off the covers at 3 a.m. because you felt a sudden wave of heat, only to feel freezing cold 10 minutes later? Even if you don't have a full night's sweat, your internal thermostat is likely spiking. Because estrogen levels are lower, the part of your brain that controls temperature becomes much more sensitive. These tiny heat surges are just enough to pull you out of deep sleep. The issue of ignoring this is chronic exhaustion from thinned-out sleep. A practical solution is to sleep in breathable layers and keep the room slightly cooler than you used to. Your system is just trying to find a new baseline, and you are simply giving it the comfort it needs. The next is the quiet urge. Do you find that you're waking up and thinking, well, I might as well go to the bathroom since I'm awake? Sometimes it's actually the other way around. Your bladder woke you up first. Lower estrogen can make the lining of the bladder more sensitive, creating a sense of urgency even when it isn't full. And once you're out of bed and the lights are on, your brain thinks it's time to start the day. Try to limit fluids 2 hours before bed and focus on strengthening your pelvic floor. You are not broken. Your tissues are just asking for a bit more support. Finally, let's talk about the melatonin gap and take a look at your sleep gate. As we get older, our bodies naturally produce less melatonin, the hormone that tells us it's time to sleep. This decline is even sharper during the menopausal transition. Without enough melatonin, you might fall asleep, but you won't stay asleep. Then you will get this constant feeling of brain fog because you never get that deep recovery time. A simple shift is to dim the lights an hour before bed and consider a slow-release melatonin support. You are simply in a new chapter, and giving your body this natural cue can help it stay in the sleep zone all night long. We have covered a lot of ground today, but if you take just one thought away from this conversation, let it be this: your body isn't working against you, and you haven't done anything to cause these midnight wake-up calls. Your system is simply adjusting to a new set of biological rules, and it is asking you for a different kind of support than it did 10 years ago. It is not your fault that your nightly rhythm has shifted. It is a natural transition that we can navigate together with a little patience and the right adjustments. By trying some of the small shifts we discussed, like that high-protein snack or calming your nervous system, you are giving your body the tools it needs to find its steady ground again. You are helping your internal clock find a pace that feels restful for you once more. If this talk made you feel a little less alone in the dark today, please like this episode and subscribe so we can keep this conversation going. I would love for you to leave a comment telling me which of these 5 reasons sounded most like your own 3 a.m. story. And make sure to tune in next time, where we are going to dive into the metabolism myth and why the old ways of exercising might be leaving you feeling more drained than energized. You are capable, you are resilient, and above all, you are simply in a new chapter of your strength.